Okay. Okay. So welcome to this our session. So today we are going to discuss about the Spring MVC flow by step by step. So before starting our Spring Boot microservice training, we should know about the basic Spring architecture and how it is working, and internally what are the components are internally is helping for entire request and response process. This is the this arrow is indicate request and this arrow is indicate response. Okay. So so all gray color, so light green color, they are noted as a request. So all orange color noted as a response. Okay. So when we are giving a request to our application, how the request will go to our spring framework or spring application, how it will be handled, and how we are getting the response with respect to our client or browser, right, our devices. So internally, how Spring is working internally, what are the components are helping each other to get the response, to send the response to the client. So that is what we are discussing. So after that, we will see the a small example about the Spring MVC, right? So here, the first of all, here the spring framework, right? Spring framework is having lot of modules, like it is having it is having a Spring core module, it is having a Spring web module for developing a web applications, and it is having ORM module. So lot of modules are there in Spring, right? So here we are talking about the whole Spring architecture. So whenever the request is coming to the here, so what I want to convey here. So if you see here, let me, are you able to see, let me uh, okay. So let me give, so this is the our project introduction project documentation. So I'm opening the documentation. So here, okay. So okay. So Spring MVC flow. So Spring MVC flow, Spring Web MVC. So dispatch servlet is the class. Here I'm showing, right? So why it is a dispatch servlet? So before coming to the dispatch servlet, I want to let you know the things before coming here. So let me share one more notepad. So now you are able to see my notepad, right? So in the Java world, in the Java world, in the Java world. So how can we develop a web application? So we know to write the a simple logic using core Java. But if you want to develop a web application, what are the web technologies are available in Java world? Okay, what are the web technologies are available, right? So we know in initial days we know we have servlets, right? Servlets. So Servlet is a basic uh, web application related framework. Using that, Servlet is a class or Servlet is an interface. Using that, we can develop a web application, dynamic web application, right? So here the main class is nothing but Servlet. So Servlet class. So here the main component. So the Servlet class will take care about the your request and response of your application. So in here we have a JSP. We have so Java server JSP. So Java server pages. So which are act as a front end view of the your application, right? So it is a Servlet class. So it is a Servlet class. It is working as a front controller of your application, and it will take the request and it will give the response. Inside the servlet, we are having a do post method. So we are writing a response, we are preparing an entire response in a servlet class. So this is a servlet. So basic of Java world, in the Java technology, we have a servlet, right? So after some days, we have a struts. So struts are the framework. So struts are the framework. Here, based on the servlet technology only, struts are came into the picture. Struts is a framework. So struts is a framework. Here the main component is the action servlet. So action servlet class. So action servlet class. So this is the main class. to take your request and give the response to handle the all the internal flow of your studs application. Studs application is nothing but your Java web application. So in the Java web application, we have servlets in an initial days and starting days. Later, the studs came into the picture. So here on top of servlet only, but we no need to give the people, if they give the same name, right, it will be confused to the end users or consumers, right? So that is the reason they named it as a action servlet, which is internally wrapped on top of servlet technology only. So servlet is the base technology, right? So here action servlet, what action servlet will do? So it is having a execution method. So in that method we can pass HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response and all, so that it will give the response. So whenever you are passing a request, it will give the response. So all these are following a HTTP protocols, hypertext transfer protocols. Okay, yes, HTTP protocols. Okay, so here fine. So after some days, here what are the drawbacks? So here only servlet class. If you want to write the anything, you need to write all the things in one class, and it is also having JSP pages. So that it is very complicated, and a debug of the application, maintainability of the application, right? It will be very difficult. It is very difficult, and also the maintainability of the application, and it is tightly coupled, and boilerplate code is there. So now studs are came into the picture. So studs are divided like a MVC pattern. So model view controller. So controller is an action servlet. So view will be either JSP or HTML pages. Any JSP or HTML page we can use. And model is nothing but a Java POJOs, where we can define our database models to the in this model. We can define all the table columns, we can define in the Java model, so that we can map the Java class variables to the table columns. So like that we have a model view controller in studs. But still here it is a dependencies are there. So whenever you need a services, you need to call in a action servlet. So we are directly creating a service classes. So there are a lot of drawbacks are there in action servlets also. Now Spring came into the picture. Spring. So Spring is nothing but a Spring framework. Strut is nothing but struts are framework, right? So Spring came into the picture. Here, what is the action class? So here the class is nothing but dispatch servlet. Okay, dispatch servlet. So this is also following an MVC architecture, and dispatches are, and why Spring is, so here if you want to connect other databases, you need to integrate either Hibernate or any or IBTs or any ORM frameworks, right? So here it is coming with the all the modules. So it is having internally it is having ORM module, internally it is having web module, internally it is having web module, internally it is having a ORM module to support all kind of database ORM frameworks, right? Object relational ORM frameworks like ORM, object relational mapping, which is Hibernate, Hibernate, all the things, right? To 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 integrate these selves, and Spring Data is also coming to uh, to to provide the easy for you to write all kind of queries. So here you need to write a queries if you want to if you want to integrate any kind of Hibernate or any kind of ORM frameworks, Hibernate or JDBC or any kind of frameworks. You need to write a insert query, you need to write a get query, you need to write a delete query, you need to write a update query. All such kind of queries you can write, right? But whereas coming to the ORM frameworks of Spring Data is the one module. Okay, here Spring Data is the one module where Spring Data is providing some repositories, predefined methods, save all, delete all, update all, something like that. Batch operations, it is providing batch operations as well as normal operations, so that it will write internally query based on the method name, right? So like that, Spring is coming with a lot of modules, so that the maintainability of the project, and testing of the project, and security of the project. So the performance components will be here, it will give the high performance. So here the main class is the dispatcher servlet of the Spring framework. Now we are going to the flow of MVC flow. So before saying that just we need to know this the history of our web applications. Okay, coming to here now. Now you know. So of course you people all know, but just I want to brush up the things. Okay, so here the dispatch servlet. So whenever the request is coming, so internally dispatch servlet is there. So dispatch servlet is nothing but front controller of our Spring framework. Okay, so this dispatch servlet. So this dispatch servlet will take the request. Okay, how the request format will be there? Obviously, our web applications, you know, HTTP protocol, right? So HTTP protocol. So HTTP, maybe HTTPS or HTTP. No, we are not talking about the security here. Just HTTP and the localhost and colon 8080 Tomcat server, right? Port number. So localhost is our mission name, mission name. Okay. So here employee, if it is an employee service, employee save or employee. So employee and save emp. So save emp is the one URI. So here like that the entire URL you will get like this. So where here you will get the such kind of URL. Okay. So now which class it will go, right? So now the dispatch servlet will confuse. So here we have a model view controller, right? Model view controller. Which controller of the class I need to send this request? So it will confuse. So now the dispatch servlet will take the help of handler mapping. Hey, handler mapping, can you take this request? Can you take this request? Give the exact controller. Give the exact controller so that I will go there and I will I will catch my response there. So it will ask to handler mapping help. So handler mapping are the internal components which will help to map, which will help to all the mappings related objects to your application. So whatever we are mapping, right? So it will help to find the exact controller name. So based on this, right? So maybe uh, here save employee, right? So our controller may be uh, uh, class employee controller. So class will be coming like this, and here emp method is there. Okay, save emp method is there. Here we have a at the rate post mapping. Post mapping in the sense here the URL. Okay, save emp. So whatever we are having the save emp here, here it is there, right? So URL. So it will find here. Of course, here we have a controller. So this is the controller. On top of controller, whenever you are putting a on top of controller, obviously the name, the employee controller will be registered in our Spring framework as a controller, right? It is a main class of this, right? So here, of course, here we will write some logic to send the response. Okay, so here post mapping save employee is there. So handler mapping will read. So save employee is the one URI, one path of some class. Okay, so it will find and it will take the controller. Now it will give the response to dispatch servlet. Hey, you need to go for the employee controller where the save method is there. You need exact method of mapping. So you need to go for the employee controller save method. Now the dispatch servlet is getting the exact path of exact controller. So the request again it will go to the controller. Okay, the controller will go to the controller, our controller class. So employee controller class it is coming here. So whatever we are writing the response logic here, it is taking and it will return the response. Okay, it will return the response. So here here, so controllers will give the response as part of Spring MVC. It will give the model and view object as a response. Model and view. Oh, model is nothing but a data response and view is nothing but a our view JSP page. Okay, so it will give. Again, it will take the two kind of components. One is the model and one is the view. So again, it will confuse to take the which view name. View name in the sense either JSP or HTML page. So what exactly JSP page I need to take? So again, it will confuse. How it is confusing for the controller, right? The same way it will confuse. So again, it will take the view resolver's help. Hey, view resolver, this is the internal component, this is the internal component, this is the internal component. Okay, so we are writing only controllers and views of our application, right? These two components we need to write. These three components are already there in our framework to help our application end-to-end request and response flow. Okay, so now it will ask to view resolver. So hey, view resolver, can you tell me what is the exact view name should I pass my data? So it will give the view name. Okay, it will give the view name, right? So after taking view name, so it will pick the one of the view. So employee.jsp or employee list.jsp, something it will pick, and whatever the data is there already in this view, we will catch that data, and we will have a logic to expose. We will have the logic to expose and iterate and populate the data here. So it will take the view data, and it will give the final response to the client or browser. So like that it will work end to end, end to end MVC flow. So do you have any questions here? Hello?
No,
Not yet. Thank you.
not yet.
Okay.
Thanks.
So now see, before going to our microservices, we should know about the exact flow of Spring Framework. So if you know the flow, we will do the rock for the next level classes. Okay. So now I am creating a simple MVC frame, a simple project to write our application. So for a fine. So this is okay. So whatever we are writing here, right? So for this Spring Framework or Servlets or studs or Servlet, we need to deploy your application. You need a server, web server or application server, right? So whether it is a Tomcat server, all kind of servers, you know. So now we are stepping into the exact Spring MVC application. So configurations and all we are seeing now how to configure a Tomcat server, how to configure our web.xml. Web.xml is nothing but whenever we are deploying any kind of application, whether it this application, whether this application, whether this application, so we need a Tomcat server. We need a Tomcat server, Tomcat. So we need Tomcat server to deploy our application. Tomcat server to deploy our application. So here, so Tomcat server. So how the Tomcat server will read our code, right? So it will not read directly Java code. So Tomcat server will understand only web.xml, web.xml file. So what web.xml? It is nothing but a web deployment descriptor. So you need to tell what is the main class of your main class, in the sense main component or front controller of your framework or your application. If it is a Spring, it is a dispatch servlet. If it is a struts, it is a action servlet. If it is a servlets, it is a servlet class, right? So we need to give the library, complete library of this class name, and we need to tell what are the other XML files are there. We need to tell what are the URL of URI. So how the format is there to reach your application into the step into your application. So we need to define all kind of uh, paths, doors of our application, and main class of our application. Main class in the sense components of our library of our application, main class of our application or front controller for application. Then Tomcat server will understand the dispatches action, this Java related, Java supported dispatch servlet class, and it will create a request, and it will register, okay, this is the dispatch servlet. Whatever the request is coming from the front end, I need to take and I need to create a request and response object. Whenever I am getting a response from the application, I need to give the response to the front end. So like that server will do each and everything, right? So that it will read web.xml. So that we need web.xml to configure our application, and also dispatch a servlet.xml to create. See, whenever we are creating a classes, right, you need to scan all the classes, right? You need to have a package name and all. You need to give the classes package name to read your components of your Spring Framework. So one is the dispatch servlet web.xml to read a Tomcat server. Another is the servlet.xml. XML, this this will read your classes, okay, your classes, so that spring will register. So okay, this is the controller. So service, employee service will be the employee service. So like that it will register, and it will recognize your class as an employee controller of a Spring component. If you are removing this, it is a normal class, Spring will not recognize your class. So if you want to, your class will be the Spring enabled component or Spring bean or Spring enabled component or Spring component. You need to define one of the existing annotation of a Spring framework, then only Spring will recognize your class as a controller. So that is the reason we need to give the controller on top of our controller class, so that whenever the servlet XML is reading the server, right? So already the dispatch servlet is the Spring component. Obviously, it will be registered in a Spring container. So Spring framework will have two containers. Bean factory, application, bean factory. Okay, application application context factory, something like that we have. We have application context factory, something it is there. So two types of two types of containers are there. So one is the bean factory and second one is the application bean factory, something it is there. So here, let me see. So here, okay, I did not mention anywhere, so I will tell you, no issue. So okay, no issue. So here, if you see here, so one is the bean factory and second one is the uh, application context. Okay, sorry, application context. Okay, so one is the bean factory and one is the application context. Correct. So application context. So bean factory will take care of or to create all beans of your application components, and application context is also, it is a it is a subset of application context. So application context is also having a bean factory, but the differentiation is, so whenever we are implementing a enterprise level application, so that it will support IITN. So if your application is running in a different geolocations, so that it will support your different languages. So bean factory will not support. So that is the major difference. And also application context will have the all the enterprise level web services as well as application servers, right? So if you want to develop your application as an enterprise level application, definitely you need a application server, right? Application server and web server, there are two types of servers. So web server will support only web related it will not support I18N feature, it will not having I18N feature. I18N is nothing but a I18N, so is nothing but a so is nothing but a different languages with respect to geolocations. For example, our application is launching in Mexico, so it will show the Mexican language. Our application is working in a global level, it will show the English language. So our application native languages, so with respect to geolocation. So such kind of feature are available in application context. And also messaging. So messaging, so Java JMS queue, so some kind of extra features are there in application context. So that is the reason we need to by default initially it will work, it will take as an application context. Internally the bean factory will take, it will be there to read and register all our components. So here Spring we have a two levels of components, right? So coming to here, so are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Beer.
Yeah, this is an ID. So this is an ID. So if you this is an ID, it is a kind of Eclipse. Okay, it is a kind of Eclipse. Whenever you're opening this ID, it is coming like that. So it is also an Eclipse. So on top of Eclipse only, it is wrapped the Spring people. So this is nothing but a Spring tool site. So this is the icon. Okay, this is the icon of a Spring STS icon. Okay, so file. So we are creating a new employee. So employee. Uh, Spring MVC flow, a small application. So before creating our application, you can go for the documentation. So Spring MVC flow. So here we have a all the documentation. Okay, so here if you see here, so in Spring Web MVC, so whatever we discussed here, right? So all our words or all our notes I documented as a in terms of notes. Okay, in a Spring MVC flow, dispatch servlet class works as a front controller, as we discussed now. It is a responsible to manage the flow of Spring Framework web application, MVC application. Okay, so at the rate controller annotation used to mark the class as the a controller from the Spring 3 onwards. Okay, now we are having a Spring 5, so Spring 3. Okay, see, if you want to enable your class as a Spring component, you need to define a controller. And request mapping annotation. So here we have a here we given a post mapping, right? So in a Spring 5 we can give the post mapping. Method type is a post, and mapping type is a request mapping. So it is a combination of a method and mapping, right? So here previously it is having a request mapping. So request mapping annotation used to map the request URL. It is applied on top of method. So method also we need to tell in the request mapping. So it is a method kind of it is a method of get or post kind of method, and request mapping of URL. So like that. So it is the same I given here: dispatch servlet and handler mapping and controller and all. So you can read all these steps whatever we have we discussed here. And Spring MVC framework and REST also we can see. So here a normal MVC application. Now if it is coming to the REST, so we are not having any view resolvers. So directly handler mapping and controller directly response, it will coming to the response page. So if you see here, Spring annotation based MVC framework simplifies the process of creating a RESTful web services. Okay, that is fine. So it is a key difference. It is a key difference. It is a key difference between traditional Spring MVC controller and the RESTful web service controller is the HTTP response body created. So here HTTP response directly it is coming. So while traditional MVC control relies the view technology, so that is the reason we have a view resolvers. Now Spring REST directly response body will come to the HTTP the calling place only, right? So here if you see here, RESTful web services controller simply returns the object, and the object data is returning directly to the HTTP response as a JSON or XML. So it is it will directly send to the client whatever we are sending, right? Here we resolvers are avoided. Why? Because nowadays give me 1 second. So sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so here why? Because the components are separated. So nowadays we are stepping into the microservice world, right? So as much as possible we need to split into the different layers, right? So that is the reason the front end development is completely different as a front end view layer, and back end development is completely separated as a back end development. So that is the reason view results are avoided here. So here directly we are having handler mapping and controllers. So directly we are giving the response to the particular place. So views are nothing but our front end technology will take our response and will populate the response here. So now now here REST flow. So what is the REST flow? So if it is a normal controller, we are giving at the rate controller, right? If it is a REST, we need to give the at the rate REST controller on top of our controller class. Okay, so here if you can see here at the rate response body annotation. Previously we have a see here in diagram 3, of course this is the diagram. This is the diagram 3. Okay, second diagram 3. So here now you can see RESTful web service container. So handler mapping and controller directly via response body. Here there is no view. Via response body, we can directly send the response. Okay, request and response. So here, if you see here via response body instead of model view object, right? Here directly we don't have view also. So view is a separate application where they can take the response, and they can iterate our response, and they can populate, right? So two applications they can integrate when we are deploying your application. So like that nowadays the components are divided into different layers. So behind the scenes how the response will coming as a JSON response in a Spring framework, that is also very important thing. So here Spring has a list of HTTP message converters registered in the background. Registered in the background. The responsibility of this HTTP message converters. The responsibility of the HTTP message converter to convert the request body to the specific class and back to the response body again, depending on the predefined MIME type. So we can define. If you see here, I already told you request mapping. So value is nothing but a get employees. This is the URI. So method is nothing but a get, right? So here we can define producers application by JSON or producers application by XML. Like that MIME type also we can define here. So based on the MIME type, the HTTP message converts to automatically convert your request to the either XML or JSON. By default format is the JSON format, right? So the internal HTTP message converter will take responsibility of to convert your response as a JSON response. And also whenever you are defining a response body, it will come as a response as a JSON format. So this is about the Spring REST. Okay. So coming to here. So this is the controller and REST controller. We can write anything. So no issue. So now I am okay. So now I'm running a small application. So just within 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes, we can close our session. So new, okay. So Java project or Spring project, right? So we are going for the others, okay. So it is a Maven project, okay. It is a Maven project. I already told you we have a Maven project. We need Maven to run. We can scan our all the classes. We can run the build script for deploying our application, right? So that we need Maven, right? So Maven. So here is a simple workspace. I'm going to the next. So here, so archetype. So archetypes are nothing but our artifact of our application, right? We need to select. So here Maven archetype web app. So we are creating a web application. We need to select a web app, right? So if you in your ID also you need to select a web application archetype as a web application. So after that, so it is asking group ID, artifact ID, and version and package. Okay. So group ID is nothing but a common package of your application. So like we if you are working in Infosys or HCL or any Apple or Google, right? Com.google, something like that, it is coming. So if you are working in an Apple, so com.apple, so something like that, it is coming. So common package. Now I'm writing com.v kakala. So my yeah channel is right. So gro group H, so our group H, okay. So this is the common package, right? So group H, okay, this is the common package of our application. So automatically whenever we are writing here, automatically it will take here. So artifact ID is nothing but your project name. So group is nothing but your common package of your application. Artifact is nothing but your project name. It should be unique, okay. So 2022 hyphen project 2022 hyphen, let me write correctly, okay. Project Spring MVC. So our is the Spring MVC project, okay. So first our for Spring MVC I can write our first service. So Spring MVC service. So we are writing a Spring MVC. Just I am finishing. So automatically it will add as a package. So I'm removing this. Okay, fine. So group H. So I'm finishing this. So now it is building our project. Whatever we are giving, right? So it will take the project structure and it will give it will basic project. It will be added here. So coming to here. So now you can see here the project is coming here. So now you can see the structure, project structure. So main resources, right? SRC main resources. It is not giving a Java resources. Sometimes it is not giving. Sometimes it will give. So you need to add package. So you need to add package like that. Let me add mm, package or source folder. So where is the source folder? SRC main, right? So in SRC main you can create a Java. So I think let me package. So src main. Okay, src main, we have a resources, right? So I'm removing resources. Main only I'm creating a Java. So just I want to see the Java folder here. So now it is coming a Java. So in Java we can write all our Java related classes. And now if you see here, and web apps is the default folder. Okay, web in a web we have a index.jsp. You can remove this. We are not dealing with any index.jsp here. So here in a web enough, so web.xml is by default it is coming. By default it is coming web.xml. So here you need to add our dispatch servlet related things, so that our application will Tomcat server will read only this application. So here pom.xml. So pom.xml, if you see here, the pom.xml project object model. So whatever the components we need dependencies jar files. If you run your application in a Spring MVC, you need to add a Spring MVC related dependencies, right? So no one will add, project will not add. Okay, so dependencies by default it will add JUnits. So it is having a default Java, right? So that is the reason it is taking a JUnits dependency. So like that, you need to add dependency of our application. So these are the configurations we need to do manually whenever we are in a legacy applications, Spring MVC and before applications, studs and Servlets and Spring, right? So before going to the Springboard, we no need to define all these things. But Spring MVC or Spring application, you need to define each and everything. Okay, then only you will get the runtime environment for your application. So you can go to the Google. You can go to the Google. Sorry, you can go to the Google. So Spring Web MVC dependency, you can ask. Okay, so it will go to the Maven repository, right? So Maven repository and latest version of the Spring you can take in. Right? So we can take a lot of people is taking, right? We can take in before version, no issue if it is any version. So I'm taking this okay, Web MVC. So I'm giving here. So this is enough. All controllers and all will come. Okay, so whenever we are saving, right, so automatically it will download here. If you see here, it will download. So our now we can create a controllers and all. So why? Because WebMVC related jar files are there. Okay, in Maven dependencies automatically it will come. Spring IOC, Spring Core. So now we all are coming. Whenever we are adding this, now the dependencies are coming, otherwise it will not come. Okay, fine. So here you can create a base package. So already we have a base package. If you see here, base package is there, right? So right. So here you can create package like this. Okay. Now you can add your class. You can add your class. Employee controller, right? Employee controller. So whenever you are adding an employee controller, so I think let me highlight this appearance. Okay. Okay. So now you are able to see the screen very clearly, right? So font size just I increased. Okay. So now you can define your controller here. Controller. Controller of Spring framework. Okay. So you are defining a Spring controller. So now you can write here. So before writing a controller, you can a simple method, right? So you can write public. So let me copy one method I already written. So I'm copying here. Okay. So employee and name. So whenever you are passing name, so it will come path variable. So response body I added here. Response body I added here. Get mapping I added here. So get mapping is nothing but get method and the mapping, request mapping of this. So employee and path variable. So whenever we are passing this variable, right? So path variable we can okay. So you can have two methods, no issue. Okay, just a method name I'm giving. It is a getting, it is a greet. So whenever we are passing an employee, so I'm not using any path variables here. Just see, this is the welcome and this is the your name. So, okay, so two mappings here. So here, if you see here, if you see here, so we can write a request mapping also, or we can use the request mapping I'm using here. Okay, uh, import request mapping, and whenever we are using a request mapping and value, here the value, okay, value will be the our employee, and what will be method. So method type we can use. Okay, get method. So like that we can define. Okay, like that we can define. So if it is a JSON response, you can define produces JSON also, right? So like that previously it is before Spring 5 it is there, and now Spring 5 we can use like this. So okay, fine. So our component is ready. So our component is ready. Now you need to define the web.xml, right? Web.xml. So I already have that web.xml. So how we can write a web.xml, I will tell you. So here you need to define you need to define rub.xml. Just I'm copying here. So dispatcher, so this is the logical name of our application. So if you see here, control and mouse over, click on the control and mouse board, and so whenever it is highlighting, so your dependencies are there, your runtime environment is there. Okay, dispatcher servlet, your application will be there here, so it will take care of your request and response, right? So dispatcher is the logical name of your servlet mapping. This is the servlet, and this is the servlet mapping. So your class need to map your URI. So you don't need to give the MVC here. You can give the just a slash. But to make our intention, we are creating a first MVC application, so that I am giving a MVC here. So here it is the MVC. That is fine. So web.xml is ready. Now dispatcher is the logical name, right? So we no need to here uh, configure a separate XML file. Now our application web deployment descriptor is ready. Now you need to write a servlet.xml to read or register your class, right? You need to have a one more file. So file will be uh, sorry. So dispatcher hyphen servlet.xml. Why? Because dispatch prefix is whatever you are using a web.xml. If you are giving a prefix, right, you don't need to configure implicitly in web.xml. Automatically, it will read from the web.inf folder. So dispatcher hyphen servlet.xml file. So here you need to you need to read your components. You need to read your packages, and you need to this is the file. So you can take any example from the uh, uh, from the Google. You can find out this how to declare this servlet.xml. So here you need to give the base package. So you need to give the context. Context means the scope of project, how you are defining your project. So annotations, right? So it will register. Okay, the project is configured by annotations. So it will remember, and it will register. And context of component scan. So where component in the sense our Java classes or Spring components, right? You need to read com.vcalculator.group h, right? Com.vcalculator.group h. Okay, base package you need to give. group H. So automatically it will read all our classes from this package. Okay, this is the base package. Okay, employee controller automatically will read. So now our application is ready. Now what is the next step? We need to configure a server here. So if
Sorry,
you're
excuse
not,
me.
yes.
There is a difference between the base package name and the package.
Base package is nothing but see, whenever we are giving, right? So if you give the another package, right? If you give the another package here, so dot controller, you can give the dot controller dot service, something like that you can give. But whenever you are giving a base package dot star, right? If you are giving a dot star, so it will automatically load all the packages. Otherwise, you need to write all the classes in base package only, right? So for our application, only one class is there, right? For our example, so that is the reason I written employee controller here. If you are having a different service and models and all, you need to create a, for the readability purpose, for the easy purpose, for the maintainability purpose, we need to define our own packages. But you need to, whenever you are scanning, you need to define such kind like this, so that it will load remaining packages also. Okay.
Yeah, what I think he meant
Okay.
is that the spelling is incorrect, or well,
And
not
yes,
incorrect, different.
it's exactly.
Let me give here
Group,
H.
you have this. Yeah,
Okay, okay, okay.
that's
Okay,
Without
yeah, thank you,
you or with you.
yeah, correct. Thank you, good catch. Okay, good catch. So, and also I think we need to change here also, pom.xml, sorry, right? Yeah, good catch. Group H. GROUP, right? Group H. And here yeah, sometimes it is a typo mistake. Okay, it is correct. Now it is correct. Fine. So here, fine. So now we need to load a servers here. How can we configure an external server into the our application? So you need to download your application, your Tomcat server. So whenever you are downloading a Tomcat server, you just uh, let me share my folder structure also, so that so here, so if you go to the C drive, you need to download Tomcat, Tomcat 9 or Tomcat 8, whatever you want, Tomcat. So you need to just define your name as a folder name as a Tomcat 9. See, in internally it is having all the required folders, okay, required folders. But you need to configure to your application. Otherwise, you need to run here and you need to create a web jar or war file, and you need to deploy in inside the web apps folder. Okay, so instead of that, you can configure your Tomcat server into your IDE, right? So how can you, here we have a search, quick search server. So servers you can find here. So here you can delete the existing server, pivotal server, it is there. Now no servers are available, and click to create a new server here. So now you can click here. So pivotal related servers we are not taking here. Apache related servers we are configuring, right? So you can select. So here we have a lot of servers. So Apache servers are there, web object web is there, pivotal is there, cloud foundry is there, basic is there, HTTP servers are there, cloud foundry related object is there, right? So Apache basic also there, and Apache. So in Apache we have all the versions. So take the Tomcat 9, whatever you downloaded version, you can select here and go to next, and give browse where you are copied and uh, unzipped that folder, and named as a zip. Okay, named as a Tomcat 9 or Tomcat server, whatever it is. So now the Tomcat server is ready. Okay, now I'm finishing. So server is coming here. Fine. So now you can first of all run as I will do the clean, Marvin clean. So which means it will clean and it will ready. So for our application. So now I'm running as a I'm running as a run on a server. So it will create a var file, and a var file it will deploy to the in this server. So run on server. So now you need to select here. Next. So what is the Spring MVC project? I'm finishing here. I'm finishing. So it will load, and it will try to download the server related jar files, and it will load your application into this server. So like that we can deploy our application. But before deploying our application, we need to do such kind of manual things, right? So Servlet.xml and pom.xml, you need to add all the dependencies required for your application with respect to your application. And here, yes, it is coming here. So now it is coming browser here. So the ID default as it will have a browser. And what is the URL pattern? If you open here, so src main web app and web enough. And if you open here, so here we have a URL pattern. MVC is there, right? So you need to give the MVC here. So MVC, and you need to go each and everything you need to check here. So here employee is there. Employee, first of all we will give the this method. First of all we will give the employee, right? So employee, right? So I'm just clicking the enter. So no mappings are found. So dispatch MVC employee. So let me REST controller employee and employee. I think we need to give this. uh, Sometimes it is not loading properly. So let me give just root level mapping also I'm giving. Just I'm I'm deploying again. Run on server. Run on server. Okay, it is ready. So here we need to give the MVC /emp. EMP is the root level mapping. So root level mapping I am giving. Now I need to I am giving an employee. I'm giving an employee. EMP/employee, right? Okay. So welcome to Spring 5 world. So whatever we are having here, sometimes it is required. So in the controller, okay. So if it is a REST controller, no need to give. So sometimes it is required, sometimes it is not required. So it is confusing. So we need to give the exact mapping, right? So because of this package might be okay, fine. So we are not using any component scan and all, right? So that is the reason we need to give the exact explicit mapping. So in employee root level mapping, we have an employee, right? So it is coming. Whatever we are having, it is coming via response body. Okay, whatever the response body is coming, it is coming as a response body. Now you can give employee / another, right? So I can give one of our friend David. I'm giving a David, right? So when I'm kicking, right? So hello David, welcome to Spring MVC 5 world. Okay, Spring 5 MVC world. So the name was added here. So if you see this controller, the name we are adding, hello David, whatever we are taking a path, right? So this is the path variable. The same name we can give. So this is the path variable. Via path we are passing this name. Okay, via path we are passing this name. So in the controller, it will take the name, and whatever we are taking, the whatever the return preparing a response here, the return we are returning here. The response body will take care of to return response to the calling place. Okay, so wherever we are calling here, it is coming here. So you can directly call the same URL in browser also, it will work. Browser also it will work. You can see here. Okay, hello David. Okay, so like that Spring MVC will work. So based on this Spring MVC, so we are doing some manual configurations. So this is the one of the configuration is Servlet.xml, and one of the configuration is web.xml. Web.xml to read and understand of your application by server. Okay, our server. And this one is to read and scan our all classes by the our framework container, right? So this is our uh, application level configuration. This is our server level configuration. So such kind of configuration we need to take care and make sure you need to create a configure all kind of things. If you're having a service related classes, you need to create. If you're having a database related things, you need to create a one more XML file. So like that, you need to take care about all kind of configurations via XML files. So this is what Spring 5. So tomorrow we will see how we can develop the same application using Spring Boot, how we can avoid such kind of external web server configuration as well as internal web.xml configuration, servlet.xml configuration, how we can avoid all these configurations via Spring Boot, how we can say a production ready application with the Spring Boot, how it is enabled microservice architecture. So we will discuss tomorrow's class. So today is the Spring MVC web application, the MVC flow, and a sample web MVC. So right. So I think you understand well. I hope you understand well, right?
Yep.
Right,
Sounds
dear.
good.
Yeah. So tomorrow we will see. Tomorrow we will see all the Spring MVC related Spring Boot related class. And thanks for joining today's class. Okay. Thanks for joining today's class. Okay. So
Okay, thanks to you, dear.
yeah,
Have a
thank you
nice
very
day.
much. So I will
Thanks.
provide this video and project to our common channel. We will meet tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sounds perfect. Have a nice day,
Yeah.
guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank you.
night, everyone.
Thank you.